Fantastic. So, Diana Winston of UCLA Mindful is going to join us for a half hour to discuss what mindfulness is, how it can be helpful in these challenging times, and how UCLA Mindful can be a resource for you. We will also do an experimental mindfulness practice. Diana Winston is the director of UCLA Mindful, the Mindfulness Education Center of the University of California at Los Angeles, UCLA Health. She is the author of The Little Book of Being and the co-author of with Susan Smalley, PhD, of Fully Present, The Science, Art, and Practice of Mindfulness. Called by the LA Times one of the nation's best known teachers of mindfulness. She has taught mindfulness since 1993 in a variety of settings, including hospitals, universities, corporations, nonprofits, and schools in the US and Asia. A sought-after speaker, she developed the evidence-based mindful awareness practices, MAPS, her curriculum, and the training in mindfulness facilitations, which trained, found UCLA mindfulness. Okay, sorry. 500. I'm so sorry. Training mindfulness facilitations, which trained over 500 mindfulness teachers worldwide. She can be found on UCLA Mindful Waking Up and Happier apps, and I will send those to you. So here she is, Diana, director of UCLA Mindful. UCLA Mindful is the Mindfulness Education Center at UCLA. Whew. Diana, welcome. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. That was hard work. Sorry.
I loved it so much. And everybody, will you please mute? I'm going to do myself right now, but everybody please mute so we can let.
Can I have access to show a few slides?
Barbara will help you with that. She's going to make you a
Okay, perfect. So I'll just do a little bit of just to kind of give you a sense of it. And but thank you so much for inviting me. Happy to be here. Happy to share about the work that I do. And I'll just want to give you a little bit of an overview. So hang on. Okay, so oh, it looks like it's at the end instead of the beginning. Hold on. Stop share. Let me start again. 1 second. Has not happened before. Okay. Give me a second. All right. And we'll try again. All right. So I wanted to offer you mindfulness. And I mean, I know obviously this is such a challenging period and in the Palisades, and I'm want to really offer this to you as something for you personally and potentially and as a resource to share and to really make it available. Much of what we offer is free. My dog is now trying to get in the room, so hold on 1 second. He seems to know when I'm teaching. Immediately at that moment is when he wants to start scratching at the door. So mindfulness I define as paying attention to our present moment experiences with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with that experience. So to get us on the same page, and maybe some of you already have a mindfulness practice or are familiar with it. I saw there's a number of people who have wellness and their little subtitle there with their name. But if you're not familiar, it's really about how do we train our attention to come into the present moment in this very particular way. It comes out of the Buddhist world, so it's a 2,600-year-old meditative tradition, and now it's spreading I mean, I've been watching the field for 35 years, and it's been spreading through all of these different sectors and society. And if for those who practice it, there's lots of benefits and there's lots of science behind it, but some of it is around reducing stress and anxiety, improving attention. self-awareness, self-regulation, meaning emotional balance, improving our relationships. And I just want to offer it for you all personally as a self-care tool, but also, as I said, something to share. There's a lot of research looking at the connection between mindfulness and resiliency. And I think right now resiliency it's a bit of a buzzword, but it's also something that I think is so like terribly important at this moment. The health research, there's been thousands of studies. Maybe now there's about 10,000 studies looking at it, looking at how it impacts chronic pain, which is one of the earliest studies that were done. A lot of great studies on anxiety and depression, how it impacts attention. There's studies of neuroscience. There's studies how it builds kindness and develops compassion for people and altruism. So I'm not going to go into it, but I just wanted to get you a sense of things that we've done at UCLA regarding mindfulness. We've done work with adolescents and adults with ADHD, a little bit on school children. There's much less research on kids, but there's some out there. Studies looking at insomnia. We've done a whole set of studies for breast cancer survivors. We've done cross-cultural studies. We've looked at healthcare professionals. We worked with in the medical school. There's studies looking at long COVID. So I just wanted you to get a sense briefly of like the vast possibility. And that's just our center. It's not, I mean, there's thousands of labs and people doing this work all around the world. So mindfulness is paying attention to our present moment experiences with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with that experience. Much of the day, if you were to check in your mind, you'd probably notice that it's lost in the past, thinking about something, replaying it. Why did I do that? Why did I say that? Or it's thinking about the future, planning, worrying, obsessing, going into the worst case scenario. And our minds tend to go back and forth between the two all the time. I don't know if this looks familiar to you, but it looks familiar usually to most people because we wake up in the middle of the night and there is, I always like to tell people, don't believe anything you think in the middle of the night. It's the most compelling, it's often the most distorted and wrong, but it is the way that our mind tends to go into the future, it tends to go into the past. And just a reminder, mindfulness is to come into the present moment. It counteracts automaticity. Automaticity is that sense of being on autopilot, like you're just going through life and you miss your life. You ever get in the car, get out of the car and have no idea what happened in between? This happens all day long because people are so busy and there's so many responsibilities and we're getting things done, checking off our to-do lists. And when people practice mindfulness, they begin to report more appreciation, more gratitude, more connection to themselves, kind of getting off that quality of autopilot and into their experience. I had someone I worked with who was a physician who, after studying mindfulness for 6 weeks, said, I lived on my street for 15 years and I've never noticed that there were mountains at the end of the street until just now. So that's the kind of like we're checked out, we're on autopilot. It's extreme, possibly, it's obviously extreme example, but this is a way that it can help us kind of get more connected to ourselves and to life. And then I'll argue that it's something we already know and experience. It's not something, yes, it does come from an ancient tradition, but all of us have had the experience of being present, connected, at home in our body and mind. When we're out in nature, and there's that beautiful sense of being just like settled and at ease, or in the midst of athletic activity, or in the midst of artistic or creative activity. And so when I think about children are some of the most present people there are. Now that, of course, they may not have wisdom coupled with that, but certainly when children are very young, I remember my daughter was very young and she would be walking down the street and want to look at every single bug and be totally present as she was. And the thing is, we were all like that too. We were connected and present and curious in the midst of life. And then what happened? We got older, we got disconnected, we had our life stories and our busyness and our difficulties. And so mindfulness in some ways is just an invitation back to something we already know, something we already have deep inside us. So with that, that was just a short intro. I just want to give you a little context in case you're unfamiliar with it, although I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it. So what I want to do is not experimental, but experiential. so, um, so we'll do a little bit of mindfulness meditation, and because I can talk about it all day, but it's really the experience of it that is most useful. So if everyone's okay, just invite you to get comfortable, settle back. And you can be sitting wherever you are. If you can have your feet on the ground, that's great. You might be on a bed or couch or chair. If your back can be upright, it's helpful. Hands resting wherever they're comfortable. And your eyes can be closed. But if you don't want to close them, you can absolutely open them. It's fine. Just leave them looking downward so you're not too distracted. And let's begin by taking a few deeper, longer, slower breaths. And as we do this with each breath, inviting in the possibility of more ease, more rest, coming more fully into this present moment. And we can notice our body here. Notice our feet as they touch the ground. And notice if you bring your attention to your feet, what is there? There's some vibration, heaviness, hardness, coolness, tingling, softness. What do you notice as you notice your feet touching the ground? And also have a sense of uh, your your legs on the chair and just on the seat of the chair. So it's like you're being held by the furniture, and then beneath you is the ground. And even if you're many stories up, see if you can have a sense of the ground supporting you, holding you up. Take a breath. And I know these are very times that are very destabilizing, and it's hard to feel grounded. So this is just a super simple practice that you can do at any time when you're feeling ungrounded. Feel your feet on the ground. Sense just in your mind's eye, like almost in your imagination, the earth below you, and feel that connection. Or you can also, if you're seated, notice the seat, your sort of like butt on the chair, just the sense of being held. Now notice your stomach areas, your stomach tense or tight. See if you can allow it to soften. Notice your hands, let your hands be soft. Notice your arms and shoulders. Soften chest, neck, and throat. And let your face and facial muscles be soft. And now notice your whole body present here. And what is that like in this moment? And now let's turn our attention to the sounds around us. The sounds in the room, the sounds outside the room. As you're listening to the sounds, letting them come and go as if you're listening to your favorite music. Just curious, they're coming and going. Often when we hear a sound, we want to think about the sound or judge the sound. I like it, I don't like it. See if you can simply listen without getting into a whole story about what it is, just listening. And as you listen, notice if the act of listening without a lot of getting caught in it, but just simply listening, notice if that feels soothing, restful, at ease. And notice, does your breath slow a little bit? Does it feel pleasant inside? It may not. It may be annoying. Maybe there's loud noise outside your home and it's just, distracting. So just take note of what's happening for you. And then we're going to bring our attention into our body to feel our breath in our body. You might notice your abdomen rising and falling, expanding and contracting with each breath. Or your chest rising and falling, expanding and contracting. Or the air moving through your nose, tingling, warmth, coolness. So for the rest of the meditation, just a few more minutes, pick something to focus on. If you enjoyed listening to the sounds, you can go back to that. Or if you want to try your breathing in one of those areas, abdomen, chest, or nose, pick it and pick something. Pick whatever is the clearest or the easiest. If you're uncertain, they all work equally well. Just pick something. And now we're going to notice breath after breath or sound after sound. One breath ends, the next breath begins. As you do this, you might notice your attention wanders. You start to think about other things, planning, remembering, imagining, and so on. If this happens, you're not doing anything wrong. It's completely normal. When you notice your attention has wandered, you can say a soft word in your mind, like thinking or wandering, and then come right back to your breath or the listening. And you just do that over and over. So I'm going to stop talking for not very long, 2 minutes at the most, and we'll try it on our own. As we bring the meditation to a close, notice how you're feeling. Notice if there's more sense of ease, relaxation, rest. There may or may not be, but if there is, see if you can really enjoy that. Just allow it to be here. And if there's something else here that's not relaxation ease, just notice what it is. See if you can allow whatever is here to be here. And then noticing where you are, feet on the floor. And when you're ready, open your eyes or end the meditation. I hope you found that helpful, relaxing. I have what I'd like to do is just take a few minutes to see if there are any comments, like how did that go? And then also, and then I'll leave you before I go with some resources to continue on and to share. But how was it? Any questions, comments, or
And that
anything?
was so great. How often do you recommend doing that?
Well, ideally I mean, the more you do it, the more benefit. So we tell people to do it every day, which most people don't, but some people do. And I start people off typically with like 5 minutes a day because 5 minutes a day is doable. And then if they like it, then they'll continue on and do more. And what I'm going to show you in a moment is we have an app from UCLA called UCLA Mindful. It's a free app, and it has like 5 minute meditations, 3 minutes, and tons of 30-minute meditations. And so that's a good resource. So it's harder to do it on your own, but it's nice when you're being guided.
I have another question. Is
Sure.
mindful the same as meditation?
It's a great question. So you can think of meditation like a big category like sports, right? It's huge. There's so many kinds of sports. Meditation is also a big category, and mindfulness is a type of meditation. People have done TM, they've done like, yogic practices there's a lot of meditation. So mindfulness is one. But also to clarify, it is a meditation practice, and it's also a quality of attention that you can have at any point in your day. So when you start to get the hang of it through meditating, then you can begin to implement it. Like, I'm about to yell at my kid, and I just, oh, wait, I'm going to be mindful, I'm gonna remember, or whatever the situation is. You can be mindful when you're walking the dog. You can be mindful when you're about to send an email that you're going to regret. So it becomes a part of who we are as we begin to practice it.
This was so easy to do, and I felt very relaxed, and it felt very good.
Oh,
And like
fantastic.
someone mentioned, your voice is very soothing. So
It's my
yeah,
job. Yeah.
yeah, we can tell it's you did very good. This was really nice.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to say it was lovely. I have practiced meditation at length throughout the years, and today I found it really difficult. I had a really alerted mind, monkey mind. So it was just a good reminder that, it really practicing helps, creating that space and landing in the present moment. So that was my takeaway, and I will definitely check out the app. I really like guided meditation. Then the second thing is I was actually surprised that you said that mindfulness is a type of meditation. I always assumed that meditation is a way to be mindful and not like almost like being a subcategory of being mindful. Then there's meditation, but you're saying that mindfulness is a type of meditation as well. So that was an interesting concept.
Well, you're not wrong, Erica. Like, I mean, if you think of mindful in like a very broad sense, kind of the way I was introducing it a little bit, like this sense of connection and depth inside ourselves, and meditation is a way in. But if you think of mindfulness actually as a particular technique, then it's a type of meditation. So it's sort of like both are true. Yeah.
And I don't think we have time, but otherwise I would ask you, like, you've been over 30 years in this field.
Yeah.
How did you start? What, was the drawing, and how did you see this evolve? Because, from when it was something that it was more for, kind of like that, the movement of the flower child, etc., to now being absolutely accepted in all across, business settings and recovery and health. And it must have been an incredible journey to witness.
Well, I'll give you, that's a great long conversation, but I'll give you the like 1 minute version, which is it blows my mind. I mean, I started doing this when I was, in my 20s, when I was in India traveling, and hi, hello. And
Oh,
I got exposed to it sort of in a Buddhist context and practiced in that lineage for a long time, but then realized these practices could be brought out into the mainstream culture. And there was sort of like, it has been a movement of which UCLA Mindful is part of it. So I've watched it go from this very fringe thing that nobody was, very few people were doing. Of course, a lot of people are doing it in Asia, in these cultures, but in the United States, and suddenly now 30 years later, it's, as you pointed out, it's in corporations, it's in the government. It was in the government. I don't think it is anymore, but it's in, I mean, it's just like widely disseminated. So it's amazing to watch, and completely shocking in some level, but also wonderful. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to tell you, you kept the attention of 2 3-year-olds.
Really?
The whole time they were sitting right here and they didn't move and they were listening to you and they were watching you and it was amazing.
Oh
Because
my
I
God,
really
that's
want
the best compliment ever.
amazing. And now they're gone. But it was nice. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
want to jump in also, Diana. Thank you so much. I'm excited to have seen you today and been part of this and have this. And I want to say I've been teaching mindfulness for probably 2006 is when I started doing it in hospital settings.
Great.
And I always have done things that people think I'm crazy, or like ahead of the game. And I'm a Reiki practitioner also, and I've been doing Reiki on patients. I'm a nurse by trade. And it was always, people have always like looked at me like, what is she doing? But the way that we did it, it was when all the hospitals got in trouble for dumping in like 2005-ish, they were all required to have trainings for all the social workers and caseworkers. And it was like all of Kaiser, all of county facilities, then Southern California Hospital Association. And part of our like 4-hour training we did for these social workers and case managers was really connecting to like the here and now. And so we did, it's like the easiest, I'm sure you know this one. It's like pick something, feel it, breathe for a minute, find all the grooves. It was a raisin in your mouth. That was the initial one.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's what we started teaching people, to get into the here and now so that they could be in touch with who they were instead of going through the motions every day of just discharging people like they weren't people. And remembering that. And so I love that you've been doing this for so long. And I love that UCLA has alternative practices like mindfulness and Reiki and energy healing and things like that they do within them. So I'm grateful that you have the time to come here today and be part of this.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Marissa. I'm part of what's called the Integrative Medicine Collaborative, which is 44 centers all across UCLA that are research, education, and clinical, that do integrative practices. So there's a lot going on at UCLA now. It's most
I spoke to them not that long ago, but I'll reach out to you also.
Yeah, awesome.
This is
Can I
great.
just share a few slides just to give people resources? Is that okay?
Please. Absolutely.
Um, so, so that's our center, UCLA Mindful. I'll give you I can send, I mean, I can even just send Diane something, but just to show you right now, we have all these public programs, a lot of free things right now. I've moved over into the health system, and so I'm asked to bring it into like patients and physicians and healthcare
Wow.
providers. But so that's what I'm in process of. But we have all these programs that are public. I'm at the Hammer Museum every Thursday at 12:30. If not me, one of my teachers are. So if you want to come do something live,
That's on campus.
and that's at the Hammer Museum, and everything else is virtual.
And it's all free.
Much of it, not everything, but a lot of what we do is free. And this is our app called UCLA Mindful, and it looks like that. It's very simple, no frills, and it has 14 different languages, some of our basic meditations, and then new meditations every week, a whole Spanish section, and that's some things if you want to. But these are some of our classes, the Hammer Drop-In meditation classes. We'll be doing a day long in the Palisade, not in the Palisade, sorry, in Palos Verdes at a UCLA campus down there on July 19th. I'll send you that information. It's like a day to learn mindfulness and practice and be out in nature. And those are some of my books, Fully Present and The Little Book of Being. Anyway, and that's the website.
Oh, wait, I want to get a picture of this. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us the resources because this is wonderful. And obviously, we all know that how much we need to just take a moment and step back and be mindful throughout the day. And like what you were saying, it's just, the children have it, and we kind of forget about it as we get older.
Totally.
So,
Diane,
it's,
will you share these slides so we can access the resources after the meeting?
Yeah, I think what I'll just do is I'll just send a handout with all the different info on it.
Oh, that's
It's easier
great.
than the slides, they're clunky.
Thank
and can we can share these as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
so great to have that.
Great.
And
Yeah,
thank you.
please let people know. I know, this is a time when we need this more than ever.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
So much.
All right.
Well,
All
the
right.
time is up. Diana, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for
Pleasure.
hopping on today and being with us.
I hope you'll be with us again soon and be part of this community. It was a lovely keynote. Thank you so much.
My
Yeah,
pleasure.
it
And
was-
come do stuff. Come just join, pop into some of the virtual or live. Great to see you all.